Lesson 6.6, Reasoning about Special Quadrilaterals. This is kind of a review, so you can really do it on your own. And what I would say is look at this Venn diagram. And figure out what goes in based on what we've done. And they're all going to be certain shapes of quadrilaterals. So if I were you, I would pause the recording now and then try it on your own. You're going to have the words quadrilaterals, parallelograms, which I'm just going to abbreviate like that, rectangles, squares, and trapezoids. And I nearly forgot, rhombuses. So again, you might want to pause it and then finish it yourself. Now I'll do it. This means quadrilaterals, all four-sided shapes. And only one pair of parallel sides mean trapezoids. Two pair of parallel sides means parallelogram. And I'll actually write that out in case you forgot that that means parallelogram. It never means square or rectangle, even if you draw it like a square or rectangle. Four 90-degree angles means a rectangle. And four congruent sides means a rhombus. And if you put them together, you get a square. So this is pretty handy. There's a lot of problems with is a square a rectangle? Absolutely. Squares within a rectangle. Is a rectangle a square? Well, sometimes, but not always. Is a rhombus always a parallelogram? Yes. Is a trapezoid always a parallelogram? Never. They never overlap. So these are answers you can make based on these things. So now, just some practice for you. Put a check mark in the box in the table if the shape always has a given property. Again, this means parallelogram. So both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. That's the definition of parallelogram. And all of these are parallelograms. So they have to be the same. Only one pair of opposite sides are parallel. That's definition of a trapezoid. And it's either trapezoid or parallelogram. You really can't have both of these going at the same time. Now, diagonals are perpendicular. Well, they're not in a parallelogram always. They're not in a rectangle, but in a rhombus, they always are. Since a square is a rhombus, you know that too. And they're not in a trapezoid. When are diagonals congruent? Diagonals are congruent in a rectangle, not in a rhombus, but in a square. So rhombus, the diagonals can be different sizes. Both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Well, that's in a parallelogram, so everything beneath the parallelogram also gets a check mark. And the diagonals bisect each other. It's also in a parallelogram, so everything underneath gets it. Again, both pair of opposite angles congruent. That's a parallelogram. So everything gets it. And all sides congruent. That's only a rhombus and a square. So you just need to practice, and practice makes perfect. Good luck.